Roy left before the light had fully settled into the day. Not early enough to wake the birds, but early enough that the cold still held the ground in its teeth. Willow watched him pull on his coat, the same one he wore for work and weather alike. Drew pretended not to notice, though every movement was being counted. Roy did not speak much before leaving. He rarely did on mornings like that. "There's word of a job," he said finally, "near the yards, mending a gate, maybe more." Willow nodded. She handed him a small bundle of bread wrapped tight. "Eat slow," she said. "Cold bites quicker on an empty belly." Roy smiled, the brief kind, meant not to worry anyone, and turned toward the road. Drew followed him to the edge of the hollow. "Will you bring something back?" Drew asked. Roy paused, looked down, considered the question carefully. "I'll bring what I can," he said. That answer held everything in it. The day stretched longer without him. Willow kept the camp in motion, not busy, but alive. Drew fetched water from the burn, careful of the thin ice at the edges. Willow showed how to test it with a stick before stepping, how to listen for the hollow sound that meant danger. "Winter's polite," she said, "but it's never forgiving." Drew repeated the words under breath, storing them away. As the hours passed, the sky grew heavy. The light flattened, turning the world the color of ash. Drew watched the road until the trees blurred. "He should be back," Drew said. Willow did not answer. Instead, she set about mending a tear in a blanket, her needle moving with steady purpose. She did not rush it. She did not pause. By mid-afternoon, Drew began to feel the absence as something physical, a space beside the fire that stayed empty no matter how close they sat. When Roy finally appeared, it was later than it should have been. He walked slower. His shoulders were tight, as if holding something in place that wanted to fall apart. Drew ran to him. Roy crouched and wrapped an arm around the child, pressing his face briefly into Drew's hair, breathing in warmth before letting go. "Well?" Willow asked, once Roy had sat. Roy held his hands out to the fire, though they were not as cold as he pretended. "There was a job," he said. "There always is, when folk are talking." "And," Willow said, "and when I got there it had already gone," Roy continued. "Or maybe it had never been there at all. Another man, another cousin, another story." Drew frowned. "But they said what they needed to say at the time," Roy replied. Willow nodded once, no surprise in her face. "That's the way of it," she said. "Words are lighter than work." Roy stared into the fire, jaw tight. "I stood there a while," he added, "just to be seen. Just to remind them I existed." Drew felt something sharp settle in the chest. "Did they see you?" Drew asked. Roy did not answer straight away. "They saw enough," he said at last. "Enough to step around." The fire cracked softly, as if agreeing. Willow poured hot water into a cup and passed it to Roy. He took it with both hands. "You did right to go," she said. "You do right to come back." Roy let out a breath he'd been holding since the road. Outside the hollow, the sky darkened early. Snow hovered but did not fall. Drew moved closer to the fire, feeling the weight of the day settle. The job had vanished, but Roy had not, and that, Willow knew, was the difference that mattered.